It's a great day to be at Rose-Hulman, isn't it? I can try that again. It's a great day to be at Rose-Hulman, isn't it? Welcome. Thank all of you for taking time out to help us celebrate the life of Dr. Samuel Holbert. You know, we're in this building because of Sam, and we heard some of that a little bit earlier in the chapel service, but it's totally impossible to walk around the campus without thinking of Sam. That goes from the Flame of the Millennium to the SRC, from Hatfield Hall over to Whitechapel. He's a man of extraordinary vision and passion. His impact extends so far beyond this campus. I don't think it's underestimating at all to say it impacts the lives of every Rose-Hulman member of our family. You're going to hear from some of those who are fortunate enough to work with Sam, to know Sam before he came to Rose-Hulman. But I want to start by talking just for a moment about Rose-Hulman. Our current students enjoy the campus improvements and culture of caring that was built under Sam Holbert. He valued each of the faculty and staff members, encouraged and modeled service to others, and shaped a student-centered environment. He saw the potential in a little-known, all-male, Midwestern Engineering College to embrace co-education and became the country's best undergraduate engineering school, engineering, science, and mathematics school. In doing so, he totally changed the way engineering education is done, from one where the faculty-student relationship at times was adversarial to one that is still rigorous but incredibly supportive. Thanks to the leadership of Sam Holbert, Rose-Hulman is a beacon of engineering education in the United States, and our alumni enjoy the pride and recognition that come from seeing their school ranked as one of the top engineering schools in the country. When Isaac Newton was inducted into the London Society of Math and Science, he said, "If I have seen further, is by standing on the shoulders of giants." And we're able to stand where we are today as an institute because we stand on the shoulders of a giant in Sam Holbert. We can clap, can't we? Let me introduce someone who, like Sam, has been a longtime advocate for biological sciences and engineering at Rose-Hulman. Niles Noblitt graduated from Rose-Hulman 4 years before Sam Holbert came to campus, but the two shared similar passions. Niles co-founded the medical device company Biomet in 1977 and fully supported Sam's vision, including the opening of the Orthopedic Research Laboratory in Myers Hall. He's currently serving as Vice Chairman of the Board of Trustees. Please welcome Mr. Niles Noblitt.
Hello. I'm sad to be here for this occasion, but I'm happy and proud to call Sam Holbert my friend. I first met Sam Holbert in the spring of 1974 on the campus of Clemson University. The occasion was a meeting of the newly formed Society for Biomaterials. Sam was a professor at Clemson, one of the founders of this society, I think essentially the founder of the society, and had organized this first or second annual meeting of the society. I don't remember which. Most of us thought, frankly, that he was the department chairman. He actually wasn't, but he had such charisma, energy, and presence that he seemed so. I had less than a year before graduated from Rose-Hulman and knew virtually no one at this meeting. However, it seemed like almost everyone else already knew him, and it wasn't long before I did as well. I was the new kid, and when I met Sam, I found him to be friendly, warm, engaging, extremely bright, fun to talk to, much like some of my favorite professors back at Rose. At the time, he had never met anybody from Rose-Hulman, at least that he knew of at the time. He encouraged me to join the society, which I did, the significance of which is that as a result, I saw him at least every year for once a year for several years for that meeting and some others. As you might expect, these meetings organized by Sam also included some fun. An annual highlight was the shrimp boil. In my opinion, shrimp and beer is a fine, complete menu. And if the discussions tend towards subjects such as the comparative biocompatibility of titanium and cobalt chrome molybdenum alloys, that's fine for Rose grads and kindred spirits. He had a very successful time at Clemson and then moved on to Tulane as chairman. He was recognized as one of the leading lights of biomaterials. He was organizing meetings, authoring papers, making presentations, chairing conference sessions. He also had many students who were populating the biomaterials universe. Before long, his influence seemed to be almost everywhere in biomaterials. He, however, did not seem to change at all. He was still friendly and warm, always reminiscent of what you would like to see in a Rose professor. One day, I received a call from Benjamin Cox, chairman of the Rose-Hulman Board of Managers and father of Gil Cox, a current board member and past chairman. He was active in the search for a new president for the school and wanted to ask me a few questions about one of their candidates. He knew I worked in the medical device field and wanted to know if I knew Sam Hulbert and his resume. I told him, well, yes, indeed, I did know him, and that he is a highly regarded, respected leader in the biomaterials field. I also remember telling him that regardless of who they ultimately chose, that I was encouraged that the candidate pool they were considering included people of the quality of Sam Hulbert. At that time, I considered him to be an excellent choice for the new president of the school and a great representative. After having the honor of serving on the Board of Trustees of Rose-Hulman for most of almost 3 decades, about half of that time with Sam Hulbert as president, to work with him on the vision to be the best, to interact with him on the board, having the opportunity to talk with his students, and mostly to observe the tremendous progress he made in making Rose-Hulman what it is today. He clearly is one of the most impressive men I have ever met. I'm confident I will have opportunities to share Sam's stories and toast this remarkable man many times in the future with his many friends. It has been an honor to call Sam Hulbert friend. Thank you.
When Rick Denton graduated from Rose-Hulman in 1974, he probably had no idea the changes that would happen on campus over the next 10 years. He returned here to teach in 1984, and it was very evident of Sam Hulbert's influence. Ullman Hall was there, Hadley Hall was done, several other things were in construction. But the changes on campus had just begun, and Rick is here today to reflect on Sam Hulbert's impact from the perspective of a faculty member who also is alumnus. Please welcome Dr. Rick Denton.
Well, as a Rose faculty member, I'm conditioned to talk for 50 minutes, but they told me I only had a passing period. So I've had to focus my comments, my ideas, and down to just a few Sam stories and 2 main points that I want to try and make. I want to concentrate on 2 of Sam's characteristics. One is his ability and efforts that he made to make everyone feel important at Rose. And the other thing is Sam's vision. Now, Sam used to go to the mailroom almost every day when he was on campus to pick up his mail, and he would sort through it, and if he found something that he wasn't interested in, but he thought you might be interested in, he would pass it on to you. Now, I don't want Dr. Conwell to get any ideas about that, because I found that very annoying. But when you think about it, what that meant was that Sam was thinking about you. Sam also made people feel special and important during social gatherings. Sam always worked the room. He tried to talk to as many people as he could, and he knew everyone's name. I remember one dinner that Marge and I attended with Sam and Joy, and there were over 100 people at this dinner. And while the rest of us were finishing our meal, Sam was walking around the room. And Marge and I realized that what he was doing was making sure that he knew everyone's name. Now, these weren't people that he associated with on a daily basis. Some of them he had just met that night. But sure enough, after the meal was over, he went around and introduced every single person. I was amazed. Sam's ability to make people feel important is even more amazing when you consider that Sam was actually kind of shy and introverted. Now, some of you think that's a completely ridiculous statement, but I base that on about 20 years of experience with Sam and Joy in the Rose Gourmet Club. Marge and I were members of that with Sam and Joy. And when we would have our dinners at a faculty or staff person's house, Sam would sit fairly quietly and listen to the conversation. He did not ever have to be the center of attention. But when we were at Sam and Joy's house, he always played the part of the perfect host, and he'd make sure that everyone was having a good time. And I realized that Sam did the same thing at Rose social events. He worked the room as Rose's president. He was working at those things and making an effort to make sure everyone felt important. Now, another one of my favorite Sam stories involves the observatory, of course. A couple of years after I was put in charge of the observatory, I got a National Science Foundation grant to purchase a couple of new telescopes. So I went to Sam and asked him if we could put up some sheds to house this new equipment, because we just didn't have any space in the old observatory. Sam didn't hesitate for a second. He said no. And I was kind of shocked by that, because Sam was always very supportive of faculty efforts to improve the school. But then he explained why. And he said, Rose deserves a first-class observatory. And that also surprised me, because Sam had never shown any interest in astronomy before. I'd never been able to get him to come out to any of our open houses or star parties. He had about as much interest in astronomy as I have in biomaterials. I was so shocked that I left that meeting without asking the obvious question: where are we going to get the money for a new observatory? And Sam and I never talked about that. We never had another meeting to discuss it. And I went back to the observatory and just made do the best I could. Sold one of the old telescopes, moved the new telescopes in, and crammed them in, and we struggled on. And then a few years later, again at one of our Gourmet Club meetings, Sam came up to me and said, would $500,000 do you to build a new observatory? He hadn't forgotten our conversation, and he had gone out and approached the Oakley Foundation and raised the money for the new building. So the fact that we have this wonderful observatory on campus is due to Sam's vision. In summary, Sam's efforts to make everyone at Rose feel their importance has maintained the small school feel and the family atmosphere that we all value so much. But his vision has taken us to that next level. Thank you, Sam.
Thanks, Rick. For Tom Miller, Sam Holbert was more than just a boss. He's a mentor and trusted friend. Throughout his career at Rose-Hulman, Tom has relied on the wisdom he's gained from Sam. As Associate Vice President and Dean of Student Affairs, he has followed Sam's example of leadership. So please help me welcome Tom Miller.
Thank you, Dr. Conwell. I appreciate that. You know, the true test of a leader is one who can inspire others to believe in themselves and achieve things that they never thought were possible, bringing out the best in others. A clear and a concise leadership characteristic that described Dr. Holbert. His commitment and his passion for Rose-Hulman existed in each and every one of us. Dr. Hulbert was an exceptional and a visionary leader and an extraordinary person. He was in a 28-year love affair with Rose-Hulman. His vision of a small Midwestern college was absolutely remarkable. And we as staff members were honored and we were privileged to be part of something that was more than special. This was made possible by a man who brought his visionary leadership into reality through making Rose-Hulman the very best of the best. He was always proud of our campus, our facilities, and our programs, but he would often say he was most proud of the Rose-Hulman faculty and staff, and especially the Rose-Hulman students. He wove a fabric that brought the community together in the belief that everyone, faculty and staff, are teachers. Staff sometimes not always in the formal sense of classroom teaching, but in our daily interactions with students and providing a positive role model for them each and every day. He inspired all of us to achieve in a way we never thought was possible. A trusted leader who we respected, and every day we wanted to give our very best. Dr. Hulbert was a caring and he was a genuine man. He was someone you met once and you felt like you had known him for a lifetime. He was always humble and he never turned the spotlight on himself for the successes we have experienced here at Rose. It was always others who made the difference. How many of us can recall a thank you letter for doing a little extra to make Rose-Hulman a special place? And who can forget the thousands of handwritten Christmas cards he would send out each year with a personalized message? And we would just marvel at his ability to stand up at a dinner and introduce each and every person by name and position, telling a funny joke or a story about each person or their family. I'm guessing, like all of you here this afternoon, if Dr. Hulbert were here, it wouldn't surprise us if he would go around the arena and introduce each and every one of us. Dr. Hulbert could light up a room with his enthusiasm and his energy, his passion. He led by example. His enthusiasm was contagious and his speeches were his. They were full of inspiration and passion that were truly Dr. Hulbert, and he put those speeches into action. His love of Rose-Hulman was evident. It was evident in everything that he did, and you knew that by the first words in his speeches. This was true in all aspects of Rose-Hulman life. He was Rose-Hulman's number one fan of student successes inside and outside the classroom. You could find him cheering on the sidelines during intercollegiate athletic events, and he was a spirited supporter of academic competition, teams, student leadership, and faculty and staff achievements. That enthusiasm was based on Dr. Hulbert's core philosophy that there is only one reason that Rose-Hulman exists: the students. Educating the future leaders in our country must always be a number one priority. You know, he really understood the importance of educating the whole student, the whole person. He coined the phrase co-curricular activities. It was never extracurricular activities. Dr. Hulbert believed that what was learned outside the classroom was profoundly important to the overall education of the students. And that's what it really came down to for Dr. Hulbert: education of our students. Teaching was core to his existence. He was a gifted classroom teacher whose biomaterials classes were always over-registered, and he always accommodated students who wanted to take his class. Under his leadership, teaching permeated all aspects of this campus, and it was his core philosophy in making Rose-Hulman the best of the best in engineering, science, and mathematics education. A quote from a 1986 speech from Dr. Hulbert: "Rose-Hulman is a good college, and our goal is to continue in our efforts to make it better. The faculty and staff at Rose-Hulman have a vision. We believe that the promised land, so to speak, educationally, is at the top of the next hill. We believe we have a chance to not only be a very good institution, but truly an exceptional institution. And the only way that we can reach that summit of the next hill is by all of us at Rose-Hulman pulling together, and we look forward to that journey, unquote. Did you notice Dr. Holbert's emphasis on our, we, and all of us? To him, it was all the Rose-Hulman family that made things happen for our students. And why he would enjoy this celebration of life today, Dr. Holbert would make the point that we should be celebrating what all of us have accomplished. And he would urge us to build on what has already been achieved, striving to make a great place even better. As we move forward from today, I quote a poem that Dr. Holbert always used as a welcoming speech for new freshmen. A number of you alumni will remember this. This is the beginning of a new day. We have been given this day to use as we will. We can waste it or use it for good. What we do today is important because we are exchanging a day of our life for it. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever. Leaving in its place whatever we have traded for it, we pledge that it shall be gain and not loss, good, not evil, success, not failure, in order that we shall not regret the price we paid for this day. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. In the early 1990s, Sam Holbert believed that coeducation was the right thing for Rose-Hulman to do, and he led the charge for the admission of women. In 1995, Kim Henthorne was part of the first co-ed freshman class. And in 1999, another piece of Sam's vision became reality when that inaugural group graduated. Kim has since returned to Rose-Hulman as a faculty member in the Department of Chemical Engineering. Her experience, which she is about to share, will attest to the lasting impact of coeducation at Rose-Hulman. Please welcome Dr. Kim Henthorne.
Good afternoon. I want to first start out by saying how honored I am to be able to be given the chance to speak here today. Dr. Holbert was such an influential person both on and off campus, and he meant so many things to each of us, but I hope I can adequately convey the impact his mission of coeducation has had in particular. As a new freshman, I knew my life was about to change and that I had been given the unique opportunity to learn from the best of the best. But I didn't know about the long journey that had led up to my arrival. I did not know about the many years of hard work, disappointments, and disagreements that Dr. Holbert had endured to give me that chance. Dr. Holbert came to Rose-Hulman right around the time that students in my class were born, 1976 to 1977. And it wasn't until we were ready for college in 1995 that his vision for coeducation was finally able to be realized. He began the push for coeducation from day one. In his inaugural address, he stated that coeducation was both an educational and a moral issue, something that the Institute needed to resolve as soon as possible. And one of Dr. Holbert's very first acts as president was to appoint a commission to study how to bring coeducation here. Most of you know the struggles that Dr. Holbert went through to get us to this point. For many years, he pushed for coeducation with very little progress. But Dr. Holbert was a visionary, and he knew that in order to grow the Institute to be among the best in the nation, Rose-Hulman could not turn away so much talent just because of gender. According to William Pickett's book, To Be the Best, Dr. Holbert was quoted as saying, "Some of you think awful things will happen to our school if we go co-ed. I think serious problems will occur if we don't. Most of the students come to Rose-Hulman not because it's all male, but in spite of the fact that we're all male." In 1991, coeducation was finally approved, and in 1995, the first class of women arrived on campus. The transition to coeducation was seamless from our perspective. Except for the local news crews following us around campus the first week, we didn't notice any other oddities or overlooked details. It seemed like everyone was excited and ready for our arrival, and we were ready to hit the ground running. From day one, both Dr. and Mrs. Holbert were involved in every aspect of our lives. Mrs. Holbert played an integral role in the establishment of our Tri Delta chapter on campus, where she served as a big sister to Amy Ott Hatfield, one of the original ISU consortium students who started taking classes in 1994 at Rose-Hulman. Dr. Holbert was at all of our athletic events, and he loved to play matchmaker in the cafeteria when all we really wanted to do was eat some lunch. Our happiness and success were so important to both of them, and they quickly became our family. They were most certainly our biggest cheerleaders, and we did everything we could to make them proud. Today, Rose-Hulman stands as a leader in STEM education, and this is largely due to Dr. Holbert's influence, persistence, and hard work. In some ways, it's hard to believe that it's already been 20 years since I first stepped foot on this campus. But in other ways, it's also hard to believe that it's only been 20 years. 20 years later, female Rose-Hulman alumni are literally scattered across the globe, including one of my classmates, Kelly Cosdras, who worked for over a year at South Pole Station, Antarctica. We are working as engineers, attorneys, doctors, business owners, professors, scientists, military leaders, and so much more. Our women students are a strong force on campus. They're involved in professional societies, social sororities, philanthropy, outreach, and community service. They're also leaders in the classroom. Many of my best students are female. Women make up roughly 22% of our student body today, and yet they've won 56% of the major awards presented to graduating seniors. We've had 17 commencements since my class graduated in 1999. A woman has been awarded the Hemingway Gold Medal in 8 of those 17 commencements. 9 of the 17 Royce Awards and 10 of the Munch Commendations have been presented to women. I think these statistics show that the movement to coeducation was a very positive step, and I'm very proud to be a part of that history. So I just want to close by saying thank you, Dr. Holbert. Thank you on behalf of the entire Rose-Hulman family for making our campus what it is today. Thank you on behalf of all of the women alumni who might not be doing what we love if you hadn't fought so hard for us. Thank you on behalf of the clients, patients, employees, and students of our female alumni who benefit every single day because of your vision and hard work. Thank you on behalf of our daughters, including my own 2 daughters, who have strong women role models to look up to and who have the opportunity, as you first gave to us, to study at the best undergraduate engineering institution in the country. I know you've certainly changed my life, and I, for one, will be forever grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. We're especially honored today to welcome Sam's family to our campus, including his children, Greg, Jeff, and Samantha, and their families. The Holbert family came to Terre Haute when Jeff was just a kid, and he spent a great deal of time on the Rose-Hulman campus during his formative years. Jeff also earned his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from the Institute in 1991 before continuing his studies in bioengineering at Clemson. He and his family live in Wilmington, North Carolina, where he works as a consultant. Jeff joins us today to share some memories on behalf of Sam's family, so please help me welcome Jeff Holbert.
First of all, on behalf of the Holbert and Anschutz families, I want to thank Rose-Hulman for putting together this wonderful event and all the individuals who had to work so hard to put it together. I also want to thank all of you for coming out to celebrate the life of Sam and Joy here in the Holbert Arena. Now, the Holbert Arena, I got to tell you, I've always been just a little bit perplexed. I don't know why they named it after my brother Greg. I guess his intramural basketball prowess was as legendary as he claims. I'm going to do my best to be brief because I know the favorite part of today for Sam and Joy will be seeing us getting onto the party and having friends and people they cared about so much, sharing stories, meeting new people, and just having a good time. Everyone here lost something with Sam's passing. Some lost a father or grandfather. Some lost a dear friend. Some lost a mentor. And some lost a hero. And some of us lost all 4. This was tough day for each of us in our own way, but the countless fun memories of Sam and Joy will go on forever. As a student at Rose-Hulman, I had several unique and fun experiences. And I thought I'd share just 2 of those with you, and I'm not sure how many people in the world can make the same claim. The president's wife, the first lady, used to call me at my girlfriend's place to make sure I got up for class in the morning. Now, I can share that because that girlfriend is now my wife, Dawn. I would also sometimes, when I had a 2-hour break in between classes, I would pop into the president's office and I would ask his assistant, does he have any meetings in the next couple hours? And if she said no, I would go in and lay on his couch and take a nap. Often the president would be in there working hard, and I'd simply tell the president, this is what time I needed to get up, here's my wake-up call, and he would continue to work and I would sleep. My siblings and I received many, many wonderful condolences on our father and all the tremendous stories of how he touched people individually, and we're so grateful for that. In one of those, there were some words spoken that said, "Thank you for sharing your father with us." Now that touched us deeply in a lot of ways, and it really struck a chord though, because we never felt like we shared our father with anyone. He was just dad to us. He didn't miss a single sporting event, school event, or anything else we were in. If you needed a ride and mom was busy, you just called dad. He never said no, couldn't say I could do it later. He would just simply ask, where are you? Where do you need to go? Where do you need to be there? And he would show up. In hindsight, after getting a little older, I have no idea what he had to reschedule and meetings to shift around, but that was just dad. That's how it worked. This didn't even stop as we got to be young adults. My siblings and I would talk. We would call up my dad, sometimes just to talk to him, see how he's doing, and he never once didn't take our phone calls. And I'm sure sometimes he was in some very important meetings with a number of you, and he would just stop and talk to us, chat a little while, and that was that. And I would say we apologize for taking him away, but honestly, we just didn't know any better. That was the life we knew with Sam. And that just goes to show you another example of the boundless energy that Sam brought to life. I also want to say that you can't have a Sam Holbert accomplish all he did without a Joy Holbert. It's really just not possible to do. For example, many of you may know that Sam was not a big fan of physical labor. I personally think I remember seeing him change a light bulb once or twice, but of course that was under the direct supervision of my mother. My mom is the one we need to thank for making it possible for Sam to be able to touch so many people's lives. I think we have a video clip from the retirement party where Sam and Joy speak to us.
I'm going to speak first so I can be very brief and say the more important things. He'll have to come up with other things. We have really enjoyed our time at Rose Home, and it's just been fabulous. It's been fabulous because everybody in the school has worked together. Everyone has been so personally nice to us, and we really appreciate that. Students, of course, are always great, especially now that we have the female students. They are super. And then I want to thank the community. I had so many good friends here. Just can't believe how many good friends I have. I've enjoyed it very much. I appreciate each and every one of you.
I want to publicly thank Joy. I know it's late and Joy and I are anxious to start partying, and I know you are too, and you've been sitting a long time. I want to tell one story. We really were, we still are, but we really were country bumpkins, and And when we first came here, well, I was, you weren't. There's a movie about a city that's trying very hard, a small community, to get a Japanese automobile plant to come to their community. And I don't know if you remember that movie, but the Chamber of Commerce director, community person goes off to Tokyo, and he carries with him a screen and a projector all the way, because he doesn't think they might have one in Japan. If you remember that movie. Well, first time Joy and I went to call on the Olin people. We go to New York. I confess, Joy and I carried a projector all the way to New York City to call on the Olin people. So we go in there, and I remember Larry Milas, head of the old foundation, says, Rose Holman. He says, what is that? He says, is that a school for beauticians? And Joy proceeds to tell him what Rose Holman is and what a great institution it is. There wasn't much doubt in my mind but what we were going to get the money for that first Olin building. Joy was there, and we went to see Johnny Black and over again. And I don't think probably many of you realize that Joy has been heavily involved in almost all of the major gifts that our school has received over the last 28 years. And Joy, I want to publicly thank you for being there and being such a great ambassador for our school. And before I give up the microphone, I want to say, Don Scott, I'm sure there will be an opportunity one more time in my life, and when I do have the microphone, and I do have some time, and you're going to be there, and I am competitive, and I'm going to get even.
I do have more to say. It's my prerogative. I want to thank my family. I want to thank the kids for helping take care of things when they had to, and being great kids and turning out to be great adults. They have also turned out to be wonderful parents. So I have a lot of grandchildren here tonight. I wish they'd all stand up.
It's been a wonderful journey. I wouldn't trade places with anyone in the world, and words cannot begin to convey how much Joy and I appreciate your friendship, support, criticisms, help, and love over the years. Thank you for helping take the idea, the vision, to be the best, and literally translating it into a reality and being responsible for a little school in East Terre Haute becoming the world's best in undergraduate engineering, math, and science education. Thank you.
All right, you heard it from Sam. Let's get on to the celebration. How about one more round of Dear Old Rose?
As Jeff said, I think the party should begin. Thank you.
During his 28-year tenure as president of Rose-Hulman, Sam Hulbert left a legacy that endures today. If you ask those who have had the privilege of knowing and working with Dr. Hulbert to describe him, you will hear words like friend, mentor, innovator, leader, and teacher. As Rose-Hulman launches into the next decade of innovation, we pay tribute to the man who made Rose-Hulman the best.
As far as Sam was concerned, teaching was number one. No matter what you did at Rose-Hulman, students were number one, and teaching those students were number one.
Sam is courageous about stepping into the future, and there's lots of examples of that on campus, but one that's very close to my heart is Rose-Hulman Ventures. He had the foresight to see what Ventures could become, and the courage to let that program start in spite of the number of hurdles involved in getting it going.
Well, I think President Hulbert was really all about being innovative in our experiences here at Rose-Hulman, and Rose-Hulman Ventures is one example of that, of being innovative in the classroom and providing innovation opportunities for our students through a program like Rose-Hulman Ventures.
In my own program, converting a science program or a science degree to an engineering degree, when he saw that this idea was great for Rose-Hulman and that the optical engineering degree would be the first of its kind, not only in the Midwest, but also in the United States, he pushed that idea until we accomplished it at Rose-Hulman.
Sam Hulbert did a great job setting the focus on the student as the priority at Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology. And what that means is that while Rose-Hulman is an engineering, math, and science college, it's not about technology development. It's about developing people within a technology context, and that's what really gets to the heart of a culture of innovation.
One of the important things that Sam Hulbert understood was that you had to have creative spaces for creative minds. So Sam was really about making learning spaces where they were pleasant to the eye.
The legacy that Sam Hulbert left us can be summarized in two of his favorite mantras. Students come first. Rose-Hulman has no reason to exist except for its students. And secondly, he would tell us all the time, faculty and staff at Rose-Hulman, that we should never settle for anything but our best effort, that excellence comes no other way. And that, I think, is the spirit and foundation that propels us forward to this day.